Good evening, everyone. It's TomPadulaTV, and Tom Padula is here, ready for another hour for Dante Alighieri, because it is 700 years that he passed away, and he left us with a jewel of a literary gem, really. It was incredible, La Divina Commedia. He called it La Commedia. It's a work involving 100 canto. There are about 140 lines per canto, 140, 150. It's quite a lot. And each canto is it's new material, really, because we go through hell, and then we'll go to purgatory, and then paradise. That I always said that for us, it's when we're young and we're making all those mistakes, it's like going through hell. Then purgatory, you sort of meet your devils and you fight with them. And if you come, through okay, you'll go to paradise in your third age. Because then you're no longer young, you're no longer working, things become more easy for you here on this earth. But there's also another element, is the element of faith. And Dante lived during the Renaissance, before the Renaissance, 1265 to 1321. Therefore, he was right in the middle of when the Church, the Catholic Church, Rome, was ruler in terms of both the religious aspects of life and also as a temporal political power in Italy and in Europe. So Dante was born in Florence, and he became quite an important person in that city, almost like Secretary of State. And he was asked to go to Rome around the year 1300. You can check it up. All these historical facts are there for you to look at, with Dr. Google or just books, history books. And that's when he began this work. And it took him a few years to write it all, but he never returned to Florence after he went to Rome, because the opposing party became ruler of Florence. And Dante was left out, and in fact, in this particular canto, we meet one of the first people from Florence called Filippo Argenti. Now, Filippo Argenti came from a family that was responsible, in a way. They were at loggerheads with Dante's side, and they voted against Dante returning to Florence. Now, this is Canto 8. It deals with, basically, let me read you something. Canto 8 tratta del quinto cerchio dell'inferno. So it's the fifth circle of hell, and a bit of the sixth one. And then, of course, this is the sin of ira, anger. People with pride and tough people, massimamente in persona di un cavaliere fiorentino chiamato Messer Filippo Argenti. And we meet also il demonio Phlegyas. Now, Phlegyas was the mythological son of Marte, of Mars, and the god of war. And he was also il sovrano, so he was the king of the Lapiti della Tessaglia. Well, again, these things you can look up if you want to study Dante in detail. Now, Phlegyas went against Apollo, because Apollo, he took his daughter. And, so this Phlegyas burnt his temple, and Apollo got an arrow and boom, got rid of him. So the reality is that Dante himself understands mythological figures. He has read the Aeneid. He says that Virgilio was his master. He contributed to his to whatever it was. Now it's already 7:30. I've spoken too long. Well, I'll just briefly say that this hour will be divided into 3 parts. It'll be the reading of Canto 8. Then I will go to my own poetry from Amica Poesia, and then I will do 4 songs. 4 songs which I will introduce. So, well, stay tuned. It'll be basically half an hour, quarter of an hour, and a quarter of an hour, and that's it. If you need to, look up down my Facebook page to Canto 1 and work your way through. They are 1 hour each, and each canto has been given enough time. So I better start. Okay, so this was, so as I said, Miss Filippo Argenti, and then we get into the palude, the marshes of, it's like a river, like a pond, but really bad one, with lots and lots of souls there, souls in there. That's a punishment. And then after this, after Phleges takes them along, past that lake full of souls, we reach the city of Dite. The city of Dite is an important city because it'll cover, more serious crimes, sins. Okay, let me start. Canto 8. Io dico, seguitando ch'assai prima che noi fossimo al piede dell'alta torre, gli occhi nostri n'andar su alla cima per 2 fiammette che i vedemmo porre, e un'altra da lungi render cenno, tanto qu'appena il potea l'occhio torre. So let's not forget, as you go down the famous cone, ice cream cone, you get, the air becomes darker, there's fog, and he and Virgilio reach this point here, and in the distance they see 2 fiammelle, 2 flames. Now, so this is what happens, that's where we're at now. So 2 fiammelle, someone is coming towards them very fast. E io mi volsi al mar di tutto il senno, dissi, questo che dice e che risponde quell'altro fuoco, e chi son quei che è il fenno? So, and what does this mean, and what are those 2 flames, and who's making, who is it? Ed egli a me, and Virgilio says, su per le succide onde, già scorgere puoi quello che s'aspetta, se il fumo del pantan non ti nasconde. So, and he says to me, look at this lake, it's sudicio, it's bad, it's dirty. It's a dirty place, and here that's what we got. That's where we're going now. Questo pantano. Pantano is another word for marsh. Corda non pinse mai da sé saetta che si corresse via per l'aere snella, come io vidi una nave piccioletta venir per l'acqua verso noi in quella, sotto il governo un sol galeotto che gridava or sei giunta anima fella. And the demonio, in the barca arrives very quickly, says, aha, I got you, bad soul. So this is Phleges. This is the devil. Phleges, tu gridi a voto, disse lo mio Signore. A questa volta più non ci avrai che sol passando il loto. So come on. Phleges, wake up. We're not here, to listen to you. We're going to be led by someone else higher above you. So this Phleges, this is very angry devil, all at once. Qual è colui che grande inganno ascolta che gli sia fatto e poi se ne rammarca? Fecesi Phleges nell'ira accolta. And he said, this really bad devil, he just quietened down, you know, like a barking dog at you, and then you go there. Yeah, we've got a few films like that, do you know what I mean? Very famous ones too. Ok, lo duca mio discese nella barca, so because the demonio came to pick them up, to bring them to the other side, of course. That was his job. E poi mi fece entrare appresso a lui, so Virgilio went down in the barca, e sol quando io fui dentro parva carca. So in other words, the boat, when I went in, because of his body, was his, live body, the boat went a little bit further down. Tosto che il duca e io nel legno fui, segando se ne va l'antica prora dell'acqua più che non suol con altrui. So, he started going through the pantano. Mentre noi corravamo la morta gora, dinanzi mi si fece un pien di fango e disse, chi sei tu che vieni anzi ora? So, whilst we're going through with the boat, one of the souls comes up, who are you that's coming now, E io a lui, si vengo non rimango, if I come, I'm not staying. Ma tu chi sei che si è fatto brutto? But who are you? You're so ugly. That's somebody who's really angry, they change their... have you noticed when people are angry, they change their personality almost? That's what happens in hell. This is a very bad place. E io a lui, si vengo non rimango, ok. Rispose, and so the devil, the soul replies, vedi che son un che piango. Look, I'm here, I'm crying for the situation I'm in. E io a lui, con piangere e con lutto, spirito maledetto, ti rimani, chi ti conosco ancor si ho lordo tutto. So, you remember Dante was this lovely guy before? All at once now, he goes against this soul. Why? One might ask. I will answer soon. Allora distese al legno ambo le mani, perché il maestro accorso lo spinse, dicendo, via costà con gli altri cani. So Virgilio too loses his reason, his niceness, and he says, go away, you dog. Now, there is a reason for all this. Lo collo poi con le braccia mi cinse, baciommi il volto e disse, alma sdegnosa, benedetta colei che in te s'incinse. So, good on you, Dante, you've done the right thing, you told this one here to go away. Quei fu al mondo persona orgogliosa. That was a person with great pride in life. Bontà non è che sua memoria fregi. He wouldn't know what kindness is in life. He would not know. So if you were kind to him, forget it, he wouldn't understand. Così se l'ombra sua qui furiosa, his shadow here is furious, angry. Quanti si tegnono or là su gran reggi, che qui staranno come porci in brago, di sé lasciando orribili dispreggi. So these people here, in this dirty lake, with lots of mud, and their anger, expressing anger, one against the other too. E io, maestro, molto sarei vago di vederlo attuffare in questa broda, prima che noi uscissimo dal lago. And again, Dante goes back, I love if this guy here is pushed back into the broda, la minestra, it's in this lake that's dirty, and this guy doesn't deserve any kindness at all. Ed egli a me, avante che la proda, se ti si lasci veder, tu sarai sazio, di tal disio convien che tu goda. So he says, before we leave this boat, you will be satisfied. Virgil says, this guy here is going to cop it. Dopo ciò poco vidio quello strazio far di costui alle fangose genti, che Dio ancor ne lode e ne ringrazio. So after this, I saw this guy here being beaten by le fangose genti, the other souls. Tutti gridavano, everyone cried, here we are, Who is this guy? He's a Filippo Argenti, a Florentine, an enemy of Dante, one who didn't help him go back to Florence, one whose property was then used by his brother, Filippo Argenti's brother. So if you go into the history of it, you get all these bits and pieces, you know, why the anger. And this is what happens in real life. That's real life. You know, we're talking about a guy writing a poem where he says what he thinks. And he's getting his back. But some people don't like that. Some people say, no, that is not right, Tom. You know, it wasn't his personal thing. This was his reaction to the sins as they become more deep, more potent. These sins here deserve not your accolade, but deserve your anger. So in other words, from a theology point of view, it's like, you know, the Christian person who says, you know, you've got to go to hell, you got to purgatory and paradise. That's pretty tough if you think about it. They're dividing people into 3 categories. One of them lost forever, and the other one in the middle, and then if you're really, really good, you got to paradise. So, tutti gridavano a Filippo Argenti, al fiorentino spirito bizzarro, in se medesimo si voleva coi denti. So whilst all the other devils were biting him, scratching him, pulling him apart, he was biting himself too. So his anger was rivolto contro se stesso, against himself. So, quivi li lasciammo, so, bang, we go on. Quivi li lasciammo, che più non ne narro, I'm not going to say any more about this, ma nelle orecchie mi percorse un duolo, perché io avanti l'occhio intento sbarro. Lo buon maestro disse, ormai figliuolo, s'appressa la città che a nome dite, col gravi cittadini, col grande stuolo. So there's a city there of Dite, and there's got a lot of sinners there, very bad ones. You know, they were surrounded by le mura, you know, like the castles. Don't forget, Dante is in the middle of the Middle Ages, when they are building castles everywhere in Italy. E io, maestro, già le sue meschite là entro, certe nella valle Cerno, vermiglie come se di fuoco uscite fossero. Meschite, mosques. Don't forget, I picked this up this afternoon. This guy here is in a go at the you know, there were crusades against the Muslims. So you're in the middle of the Middle Ages here, and in hell, he puts all these walls that looks like, you know, Oriental mosques, you know, the big domes, etc. You know, that's what it looks like. E io ho messo già le sue meschite là entro, certo nella valle Cerno, vermiglie come se di fuoco uscite fosse. So they're like vermiglie, they're red, they're like burning metal. So we are going to enter the traditional hell where the flames are there and burning those souls, especially those devils that went against God. Oh. Ed ei mi disse, and the maestro says, il fuoco eterno che entro la foca le dimostra rosse, come tu vedi in questo basso inferno. Like, basso inferno. Noi pur giugnemmo dentro all'altre fosse che vallan quella terra sconsolata. Le mura mi pareano che ferro fosse. They looked like, you know, really high, and che ferro fosse, like iron. Amazing. Non senza prima far grande aggirata, venimmo in parte dove il nocchier forte, don't forget they're in the boat with Fregias. And you know, this devil he represents anger and pride and bad person, bad devil. All the devils are bad, but this one, you know, particularly bad. Usciteci, gridò, qui è l'entrata, get out. this is the entrance. I've done my bit. Go away. Io vidi più di 1000 sulle porte da ciel piovuti che stizzosamente dicevano: chi è costui che senza morte va per lo regno della morta gente? So, and then Dante notices all these devils on those walls. And I say, who is this guy who's coming here amongst la morta gente and he's still alive? Come on, we can't allow that. You're joking. This is hell. Chi è costui che senza morte va per lo regno della morta gente? E il savio mio maestro fece segno di voler lor parlare segretamente. So Virgilio decides, okay, they're not going to let us through. Let me talk to them and explain where I'm at, because there are so many of them. E so allora chiusero un po' il gran disdegno e dissero, e so they calmed down a little bit and said, vieni tu solo, come, you only come. E quei se invade che si è ardito entrò per questo regno, sol si ritorni per la folle strada. Provi se sa che tu qui rimarrai, che lì in scorta si buia contrada. So he says, that guy there, you can come in, but that guy there remains outside because he's not allowed in. We allow you for the moment, and that's it. Pensa lettor, oh, poor Dante remains on his own. Se io mi sconfortai nel suon delle parole maledette, che non credetti ritornarci mai. Poor guy, left in hell. And Virgilio goes through those doors to meet the devils for a little conference. Well, and then pensa lettore che non credetti ritornarci mai. So I never thought, once I lose Virgilio, how in the hell am I going to get out of here? Going back, can't do that. O caro duca mio, so he says, che più di 7 volte mai sicurtare duta e tratto d'alto periglio, che incontro mi stette, non mi lasciar, dissi io, così disfatto, e se il passar più oltre ci è negato, ritroviamo l'orme nostre insieme ratto. Oh, my Duca, don't let me here. Don't leave me alone, for heaven's sake. You know, if they don't let us through, let's go back. You can, go back. And don't worry about the rest of my, my voyage to go to paradise. It's a bit not very good, Dante, is it? A bit down, of course. When things go wrong, we're all down. E quel signor che lì mi aveva menato mi disse, and Virgilio che lì mi aveva menato, come with me, says, non temer, don't be afraid, che il nostro passo non ci può torre alcun da tal né dato. Nobody can stop us from going through. Ma qui mantendi e lo spirito lasso conforta e ciba di speranza buona, chi non ti lascerò nel mondo basso. So, I'm not going to leave you behind here. And he says, and have faith, speranza, see? E conforta e ciba di speranza buona. Have faith, speranza buona. Follow, you have to remain optimistic. In the worst times, you've got to remain optimistic. Chi non ti lascerò nel mondo, I will not leave you down there. Così sen va, e qui vi m'abbandona lo dolce padre, io rimango in forze che sì e no nel capo mi tensiona. So I was left on my own, and he went, and, what do you do when you're left on your own? Amongst, just outside of the walls. Udir non porti quello che allor porse, ma ei non stette là con essi guari, che ciascun dentro a prova si ricorse. So I could not hear what they said, of course. I can't tell you what happened between Virgilio and the demonio. I don't know. Chiusero le porte, quei nostri avversari, nel petto al mio Signor che fu rimase e rivolsesi a me con passi rari. So in other words, Virgilio went in, told them that this guy here was going to see God, and these people here, these angels here, they were the original angels who did not believe in follow God's will. Therefore, they were punished and they went into hell and they became devils. And devils, as we know, you saw them nelle fiamme, in the flames. This is a beautiful image that a lot of our filmmakers, if you're making a film about the devils, etc., you always put in a few flames there, burning. And by the way, tonight is Witches' Night. Tonight is Witches' Night. Tomorrow, it's the 31st. Tomorrow is All Saints' Day, tutti santi. And the day after is All Souls' Day, tutti morti. So, le streghe, i santi, i morti, uno dopo l'altro. Whoever thought of it, unbelievable. And in Mexico, they must be having unbelievable parties. Chiuse le porte, so these avversari, they closed the doors on us. Wow. Gli occhi alla terra e le ciglia aveva rase ed ogni baldanza e diceva nei sospiri, so, poor Virgilio, he didn't succeed this time. His diplomacy didn't work with these devils. Originally, under God's, in God's kingdom. Chi m'ha negata le dolenti case? They have negated, they have said no to us going through. E a me dissi, tu perch'io m'adiri, non sbigottir, ch'io vincerò la prova, qualche la difensione dentro s'aggiri. So, just because you see me now a little bit down, don't worry about it. Non sbigottir, I will win this. And he knew what he was doing. Che la difensione dentro s'aggiri. Someone is going to come and help us out. Questa loro tracotanza non è nuova. This type of behavior of these devils is nothing new. Che già l'usarono a men segreta porta, la qual senza serramo ancora si trova. See, this is a reference to when Christ died and he went into hell. He had to go through the city of Dita, and all those doors were closed. But he went through in order to go to Limbo to pick up his family members to bring them to paradise. And maybe in the future, our church can say, well, even if it's pagan or for another religion, etc., there's still a chance for you to go into paradise because Christ can go down and pick you up or send someone through that particular door. Soressa vedusta la scritta morta, e già di qua da lei discende l'erta, passando per i cerchi senza scorta. So, in other words, see that door there? We're going to go through. Nobody can stop us there. The devils, they occupying that side of it, and they won't let us through. But there is a door there on the side. We're going to go through that door. Nobody can stop us. Of course, probably an angel or something go to help him out. Virgil, let's not forget, he came under the patronage of Beatrice and the Madonna and Santa Lucia. So that's where we're at. Tal che per lui ne fia la terra aperta. And so that's what happened to him. For him, la terra aperta, in other words, the road into the lower circles of hell were opened to him. And we're going into circle number 6. Circle number 6 to 9 are very interesting circles because then we're dealing with really bad, people with violence and against themselves, the community, and against God. It's a very interesting. So Canto 9, we're going to, Dante gets more interesting as well. And whereas in Cantos 1 to 7, he dealt with the past a lot. From now on, you'll get more references to people of his own lifetime. And therefore, he brings the work of La Divina Commedia into into the present. A bit like what I'm doing with my history. I've gone millions of years ago, and then we are now 10,000 years, we're getting to civilization. So on Thursday from 7:25 to 8:30, have fun. And again, if you haven't seen any of my work before and you got to my Facebook page, you can catch up, because what I'm doing each week is not repeated. This is it. This remains as as my work. So if you miss out 1 week, don't worry. It's a study. So if you get yourself a copy of La Divina Commedia and you have me there explaining it to you, as you can see, there's nothing much intellectual about the way I express myself, and there's a lot in there that I can't obviously do in an hour. So faccio come una lettura generale, but if you want to study it, please do. So that's the end of Canto 8. Isn't that beautiful? Well, thank you very much for a few people who come on, and I know it's very tough, especially if you don't have the book in front of you, the Canto, but that's how it is. It's only an introduction, so I appreciate anyone who comes on and makes a comment, because if you don't make a comment and you come on, I don't know that you're actually on it. Now I have to go into my computer. My computer, yes, of course. Here we are. Sorry, I just got to do this. I've got to do this, sorry. And here we go. We are here. Okay. Now, I need a drink, and then I'll start with my Amica Poesia. It's 7:57. Not bad. We're getting there. There's another thing too that I want to mention, since I got a few minutes, that on Tuesdays from 11:25 to 12:30, I have my Italian lessons. Now I will do the Italian lessons in the same way as I'm doing Dante and the history. I start from the beginning, and then depending on your level of knowledge of the Italian language, I will do the grammar from the beginning. I always said that la pratica batte la grammatica. So in other words, practicing your Italian leads you there much more easily than if you just study grammar. But without grammar, you can't correct your mistakes. You need to know what the rules are. Once you learn the rule, it's easy. It's like our technology, cooking, gardening, all of these things here. You start, and then your knowledge increases when you do la pratica. Practice makes you get there. Now, we can't know everything. You've got to remain humble, because we are limited in our nature. We can only know certain things. So if you're thinking of one thing, you can't think of another. Whilst I'm doing this, I can't say hello. I can, but then I lose track of what I'm doing. And therefore, any person who does a job, they have to concentrate on the job. And then someone else from outside looks and says, oh, that's job there, goes with that one there, and that one there, and that. And that's how governing occurs. And that's why there's so much confusion all around us, all the time. Now, this is the book, Amica Poesia, and don't forget, I've also got Poetry My Friend, which is this is a twin text. Last week I did La Benedetta, Filosofia e Speranza. This week I'm going to do 3, Speranza di Poeta, Poesia, and Consolazione. They're very nice poems, I hope you enjoy them. And don't forget, I've got these books. If anyone wants to go to insegna.com, look up, become familiar with my all the books that I have there in Italian, English, and 20 languages altogether. and I know it's, it's not everyone, books, you can go to libraries, etc. I understand. Only get what you really want. If you don't want, don't worry about it. Just enjoy looking at the website. Speranza di poeta. O musa bella, o tempo mio mortal, risvegli in questo cor che ha tanto amato l'alito poeta, le note musicali di quella corda amata. Or alzo al ciel questa preghiera muta, questo vano piacer d'un fugace che osa guardar nell'infinità quell'anima immortale di mortale. O musa mia, fammi compagnia in notti insonni, in giorni di bisogno. Offro a te un mondo d'allegria, pien di fantasia, che per compagnia un bicchier colmo di vin di casa mia. Mi ispirerò di cose che a me fanno gusto e ti farò sentire la pompa di quel maestro nostro che nella storia di 2000 anni fa scrisse sul papiro della gioventù perduta quell'enigma famoso che ancora oggi la gente disputa. I think it's Aristotle here. Vorrò fra l'altro parlare di questo posto ai posteri nostri, dir loro con grazia ed umiltà che è una fregatura il parlare altrui quando il pensier nostro manca. La grandezza di chiunque sia è un prodotto della vanità che va cercando lode e l'orgoglio se la gode. So when you write something, you see, it's l'orgoglio che va cercando, whoever does something, especially in writing, etc., when we do something, we want, andiamo cercando lode, we want people to praise us. And then l'orgoglio, the pride, I did a good job, fantastic. That's why we're not very good with criticism, unless it's, even when people say, criticism is there to improve what you're doing. Yes, but at the same time, it puts you down. So in other words, you've got to manage that very well. Now, don't forget, these poems of mine, they are 40 years old, 50 years old, some of them. Poesia. Don't forget l'orgoglio. Lode e nell'orgoglio se la gode. Poesia. Non c'è più sicura via all'allegria che la certezza d'aver per compagnia la bella voce di questa amica mia. Sentir soave le note, alimentar le corde sonore dell'intelletto mio, qu'ogni tanto si degna a farmi sognar di poesia. So there you are, poetry. It's a good friend. When you write, it's a great friend, and it stirs up your intellect, and it makes you dream. In other words, you use your fantasy. That's beautiful. That's poesia. I like that. It's a short one too. Consolazione. That's the third one. Di questo mi consolo ogni qualvolta io scrivo su questa carta rigata, che qualcosa pur rimane, se tu racconti dei fatti veri che succedono per la strada, ovunque sei, che nel cercare la realtà su carta scritta trovi a volte un senso vero della vita. Ti sembra che lo scritto poi ti adorna di un pensiero, un ricordo, un qualche cosa. E nel vedere i grandi scritti dei poeti di molti secoli fa, dal Dante all'Ariosto a Leopardi, ti rendi conto che la vanagloria ti porta un po' ovunque con la fantasia. Però se ci pensi ancora di più, tante sono le ore ben passate insieme al tuo animo, amico mio, e scopri che nel fermare le tue idee in precisi pensieri che poi levichi, tu sei proprio un avventuriero, un viaggiatore seduto a tavolino. E da questo punto fermo tu miri il tuo binocolo sulla natura umana, o sui sentimenti o su temi svariati. Non dire agli altri con parole sonore tutto l'amor che senti nel tuo cuore, perché le righe scritte parlano chiaro, come si vede nel fondo di un ruscello. Chi sei non lo nascondi a nessuno, perché quando fai l'introspezione Si vede apertamente quel che hai di dentro. Ho cominciato a scrivere queste righe senza sapere dove andavo con la penna. Forse lo scrivere è come passare per una foresta oscura di alberi con chiome che non fanno passare i raggi del sole. Però è bello rivedere quel che hai detto, un po' per curiosità e un po' per simpatia. Perché sto passatempo, amica mia, ce l'hanno quelli che sognano di giorno. I dream during the day whilst I'm alive. So, speranza di poeta, poesia e consolazione. I've got a few moments here. You know, these poems here, they're written in a very easy language. And can I say, I'm going to use both the poems and the lyrics of songs. I will entwine them in my grammar. In other words, when I do the Italian lesson, I'm going to use some of these live examples, if you like, to show how important it is to learn grammatical notions, to learn the rules. Because everything we do in life these days is all about rules all the time. And, you know, we don't like rules because they trap you. It's like, you know, having one of those jackets when you got to, when they want to stop you from being crazy, let's say, you know, about anything. So they stop you. That's what police, anyone who's in charge, and if you go against them, like, you know, in hell, the demonio, the devil will stop you. They will control you. So don't forget that, you know, Virgilio, Dante and Virgilio, they're going through. They don't live there. It's like when you're a tourist, you go through the place, you don't live there. You will not, in a way, know what those people in those other places go through unless you stay there for a while and you start, you know, you stop and take note. Now, these here, speranza di poeta, poesia, consolazione, these, especially questa consolazione here, really needs a bit of explanation as well. Di questa mi consolo, you know, I'm happy with it. Because when you write something, think about it. If you don't write it down, what did you eat 4 days ago? You've forgotten, unless it's a birthday special. But day to day, we forget, what did I eat last week? Unless it's always the same thing. Then it's easy to remember. But generally, if you don't write it down, you forget. And so your ideas, you know, writing this poetry business here has helped me get to know who Tom Padula is. Now, at the beginning, when I did all this, I just wrote it down. I didn't know that I was going to read it to you now. It was many years ago. I kept them, then I published them. It's very, and I you know, I've done a lot of this sort of work with books, with DVDs, with television programs. You know, all these things here remain. We've just lost Bert Newton. Now, Bert Newton is someone you cannot forget because during his lifetime, from they said he was 83, so I assume he was born in 1939. So by the mid-50s, when television arrived in Melbourne, what happened? This guy got into there. Now, there was also, you know, other characters on those television programs. They will be remembered too. But Bert, you know, he survived Graham Kennedy. I'm telling you. By the way, I just remembered that I think I went to one of the shows at Channel 9 when I first arrived from Italy. I had forgotten about it. And they were absolutely... it was just like a mess on stage, but people thought it was funny. And then as the years have gone by, we've seen but professional life coming to, being accepted. It's not easy to, to be funny or to, you have to cop a lot of criticism, but also a lot of praise for the work that you do. And then, then people ask you to do important things, and he did. And he managed them very well, too. So, he backed up other people. He was able to do his own things. He did some radio. The guy lived a good life. And it's an important life in the life of Melbourne. So, R.I.P. Bert Newton. I hope that, when you get upstairs, well, you probably should go to purgatory. I'm sure not everything that we do, we're not perfect in life, so we need to expiate our sins somehow. But that means me too, and you too, oh dear, we're not perfect, so purgatory is necessary. You have to purge your sins to become pure and above board. Even the popes and, the saints, don't tell me the saints were perfect. They weren't. They followed. One of the great things about the saints is that they have faith. When you have faith, you're very lucky. You're very lucky because that means you follow a particular road. But when you call Thomas, the doubter, you're in trouble. because then what happens is that you cannot. It isn't one way. You can see many ways. So which one do you take? I'm still trying to work it out. Okay, well, that's 8:12. I think I've done enough of Tom Padula today. I was going to read something else, but I thought I did. I've just found here Scuola TV. I'll do this on Tuesday, I think. School on TV. Unbelievable. Because now I'm doing school on TV. Isn't it amazing? Now, we changed tack again. This time, there are 4 songs that I did with Reno and Dora Marquez. Now, I will start with this, and then I'll start here. Let me see. Okay. And then I have to stop it. Well, good afternoon. I'm going to enjoy this particular time with Dora and Rena, and we're going to start with Parlami d'amore Mario. Okay. Now, because I have to go back again. I have to go back again because that was the introduction, and then I have to go to Parlami d'amore 357. Okay. Now I won't do that. No, I'm going to do 259 here. This is called Un'ora sola ti vorrei. Okay. Rehearsals. But when you are actually learning a song, like Un'ora sola ti vorrei, which we are going to do now, and this song was sung initially by Fedora Mingarelli, 1938. Now, a lot of the Italian singers have only picked up on the ritornello, on the chorus bit, and they've left out the first 4 lines and the last 4, which gives you the actual story of the song. And the words themselves are beautiful, but they also need interpretation because the words, they actually need someone to explain what they mean. But here I'm going to just sing it, Un'ora sola ti vorrei. And let me go, and then Reno and Dora will come along. So here we go. C'è nel mio cuore quando mi guardi tu, un desiderio che non mi lascia più, freme la vita mia vicino a te, mi scordo il mondo e tu lo sai perché. Una sola ti vorrei, io che non so salvarti mai, per dirti ancora nei baci miei, che cosa sei per me. Una sola ti vorrei, per dirti quello che non sai, e di quest'ora donerei la vita mia per te. Solo in quest'ora vive un'eternità, fammi sognare e tutto dimenticare, dammi l'incanto che non ebbe ancora, il desiderio che tormenta il cuore. Un'ora sola ti vorrei, io che non so scordarti mai, per dirti ancora i baci miei, che cosa sei per me. Un'ora sola ti vorrei, per dirti quello che non sai, ed in quest'ora dormirei la vita mia per te. Now, that particular song, I want to explain what I do. I'm interested in the lyrics of the songs. You can listen to these songs from the original singers on YouTube. The idea, this particular song, Un'ora sola ti vorrei, have been sung by other singers, but none of them have done the first four lines and the last four. They've only done il ritornello. So, and I want to teach the whole song because I think it's unfair for a songwriter to have his work badly treated. And that's the reason why I'm doing this. Now, the next one is, Parlami d'amore Mario. Here, yeah? Well, going to try Parlami d'amore Mario a second time, and let's hope that we can actually iron out all the bits and pieces that you can get wrong when you first try it. Of course, la ripetizione è importante, and that's why singers and producers in general, they want perfection, but it takes months and months and months. You can't do it. You can't do it unless you spend the time on it. So with the music, with songs, with anything really, the repetition is very important. So here we go with Parlami d'amore Mario, made famous by the film Gli uomini che mascalzoni. So here we go. Come sei bella, più bella stasera Mario, splende un sorriso di stella negli occhi tuoi blu. Anche se avverso il destino domani sarà, oggi ti sono vicino perché sospirar, non pensar. Parlami d'amore, Mario, tutta la mia vita sei tu, gli occhi tuoi belli brillano, fiamme di sogno scintillano, dimmi che illusione non è, dimmi che sei tutta per me, qui sul tuo cuore non soffro più, parlami d'amore, Mario. Now Donna is going to play just the bit with music. Come on. So che una bella e malvada sirena sei tu, so che si perde chi guarda quegli occhi tuoi blu, ma che mi importa se il mondo si burla di me, meglio nel gorgo profondo, ma sempre con te, sì con te. Parlami d'amore, tutta la mia vita sei tu, gli occhi tuoi belli brillano, fiamme di sogno scintillano, dimmi che illusione non è, dimmi che sei tutta per me, qui sul tuo cuore non soffro più, parlami d'amore, Wow. Parlami d'amore, Mario. It's an old song. It's a good one to learn. And it's a challenge. You know, these are challenge songs. They are, I'll introduce 4 each week, and then I will use them in my other, you know, in my other hours. But there's a lot of beautiful Italian songs. This one here is one of my favorites, of course, and I hope it's yours. The singing actually gets better as we go along. Here we go. Let's have a look. This next song is called The Reginella, and famous because Roberto Murolo from Naples sings it in an extraordinary way, and the words are just beautiful. The word Reginella, and I think I've actually done this without music, but today Dora is here and Rina is here, and we're going to do it together because it's one of those songs that they've always played with Angela when they were out and about around Melbourne. So here we go, Reginella. And I'm sure I'm going to name it our friend. Ask Dora. Resta scullata, mucca piella che nastro e quel rosa, stevenienza tra 4 sciondose, e parlava francese così, fu l'altriere che t'aggi incontrata, fu l'altriere che t'ammassi, t'aggi voluta bene a te, tu l'hai voluta bene a me, ma non chiamami più, mai potuto, distrattamente pensa a me. Reginella, come stivo conmigo, non mangiare capare celasa, un cantare le cose che in vaso, un cantare che aniva per me, e un cardillo cantava cotito, Reginella vuole una stura, t'aggi voluta bene a te, tu l'hai voluta bene a me, ma non ci avevamo più mai votato, distrattamente pensa a me. Oh, Cardillo ti aspetto stasera, Bruniglia già aperta caiola, Reginella volata e tu vola, vuole cambio e chiamerà Padula, patrona sincera, che chiudevi a sentirti cantare, t'aggi vecchio, mai potuto, dice un cielo da chiesa, wow. Well, this song here is very famous and sung by many Italian singers and choirs as well. It's it's the lyrics of songs you can access them via Google. Just write the name of the song, and also then YouTube will give you the singers. So my idea is to introduce these songs because they're not always played in the Italian clubs here in Melbourne because some of them are not suitable. People don't know them. So I've been doing a study for the last couple of years, and and I've got a next one as well here. This is the last one. It's called Come Pioveva. It's one of Dora's favourite and mine too. As I said, Come Pioveva can also be almost read out. It's a beautiful story, and we're going to try it there with Mandolino and TomPadula sings. Okay, let's go. Come Pioveva. C'eravamo tanto amati per un anno e forse più, ci eravamo poi lasciati, non ricordo come fu, ma una sera ci incontrammo per fatal combinazione, perché insieme riparammo per la pioggia in un portone, elegante nel suo velo con un bianco cappellin, dolci gli occhi suoi di cielo, sempre mesto il suo visin. E io pensavo ad un sogno lontano, a una stanzetta d'ultimo piano, quando d'inverno il mio cor si stringeva, come pioveva, come stai? Le chiese a un tratto, bene grazie, disse tu, non c'è male, poi distratto, guarda che acqua vieni giù, che non importa se mi bagno, tanto a casa devo andare, all'ombrello t'accompagno, grazie, non ti disturbare. Passa a tempo una vettura, io la chiamo, lei fa no, dico via senza paura, su montiamo e lei montò. Così piano piano io le presi la mano, mentre il pensiero vagava lontano, quando d'inverno mio cuore si stringeva, come pioveva, ma il ricordo del passato fu per lei un gran dolore, perché al mondo aveva dato la bellezza ed il condore, così quando al suo portone un sorriso mi abbozzò, nei begli occhi di passione una lacrima spuntò. Io non l'ho più riveduta, se è felice chi lo sa, ma se è ricca o se è perduta, all'agnor rimpiangerà. Quando una sera in un sogno lontano, nella vettura io le presi la mano, quando salvare era ancora si poteva, come pioveva, così piangeva. Well, that comes to the end of the program for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got my formula. I think we'll go on along these lines here. The first half hour to Dante, and then a quarter of an hour to TomPadula, and then we got the songs. The lyrics, as I say, because people say, why do you sing even without music? I am interested in the lyrics of songs for you to learn and for you to access through Google and YouTube for when you go to your walks or you're cooking, whatever. So that's my job. I love it. Ci vediamo la prossima volta. Grazie from TomPadulaTV. And don't forget, go on my Facebook page, and also these programs will go on insegna.com under blog, the blog, and I'll have the list down. But that'll take a while before they go up. The first 4 are up there already. Okay? Ciao. Buonasera, buonanotte a tutti. Okay? Ciao ciao.